Hi. As spooky October draws to its close, exhausted from trying to read on a single theme for one whole month, which goes seriously against my instincts, I broke away from the spooky to spooky but different. The Last Vampire by Willis Hall. This was part of a book haul of mine a while ago. It is illustrated by Babette Cole, and it's a wraparound. It's also got illustrations inside. I assume that Babette Cole did the cover as well. I mean, I don't know that. It doesn't say, actually. What do you expect? Let's assume that Babette Cole did this, as well as that, as well as a whole heap of pretty cool illustrations inside. They are very, very cutesy and very, very funny, very much English kids book style, which suits the subject matter, because The Last Vampire was written by Willis Edward Hall, who was born in the United Kingdom in 1929 and died in 2005. He was apparently quite prolific. I hadn't heard of him specifically. Apparently he was mostly a playwright, though he did write several non-kids books and quite a few kids books. So The Last Vampire is all about the Hollands family. Albert and Mrs. Hollands? I'm sure she's got another name. Emily Hollands. Mr. and Mr. Hollands are from some part of England in that comfortably middle class layer where you go on holiday to the seaside somewhere cold every year, and it's always the same place. This book was initially published in 1982. I don't know if that was true to the 80s. I would have said that the family feel to this is kind of 70s-ish, but I wasn't living in England in the 70s or the 80s, so what do I know? Some of you were. You tell me. The stereotype of the English couple who've got a nice comfy home and once a year go to the beach to be freezing cold on the pebbles once a year. Stereotype or not stereotype? You tell me. Anyhow, this is funny and cutesy, and the story goes that one day Emily was on her once weekly shopping trip and she got caught in the rain, so she ducked into travel agents, and she got all these brochures showing all these fantastic holidays that didn't involve driving down to the beach at Cockleton-on-Sea. And so she managed to inveigle her husband, the long-suffering Albert, to go on a camping holiday around Europe. At the beginning, we are somewhere in Europe, but Emily is the map navigator and she can't, so they don't know where in Europe. It could be Belgium, possibly France. Some of them are guessing Germany. And it's getting dark and they need to pitch the tent. So they draw off the main road into a spooky pine forest and set up their tent. They sleep there that night, Henry being the child, and sees things that the adults don't see, because this is, after all, for children's. He hears wolves in the pine forest, even though his parents think they're dogs guarding the castle, which at the last moment they saw perched up there on the hill. So the next day, when he is exploring, Henry finds a way into the castle, and he climbs a tower, finds a room where someone is hiding in the closet. He has already noticed that the castle's name is Alucard, and he's figured out that that is Dracula spelt backwards. Count Alucard, the last vampire, is a vegetarian. He craves oranges, not blood. And he's hiding in the closet. He doesn't want anyone to know about him, because the villagers still believe that staking vampires is a good pastime. Now, the Hollands family getting there stirs things up a bit. They set their tent, and Henry decides that, and Albert decides we're going to stay there a few more days. He goes into the town and manages to stir up suspicion. When two villagers come and approach the castle, they find Emily patting and feeding the doggies, as she calls them, which are actually ravening wolves that the village is terrified of. And so they assume that the visiting Hollands family are also vampires. We hear that Count Alucard's relatives have all been staked, and they're hidden somewhere in the forest, nowhere knows where, until Emily Hollands stumbles through a hole and finds a crypt where she starts cleaning. She's very proud of the result, and the last thing she does is take these wooden stakes that she thinks they can use for tent pegs, which they're always losing, thus releasing the ancestors of Count Alucard on the people. Here's a picture of the villagers marching on the castle where they're going to get rid of the last of the vampires, and I've got to say, this is a gorgeous illustration. Not all of the illustrations are. The people are funny and cutesy and humorous and will probably suit a child, but when Babette Cole was trying her hardest, she could draw, and they are lovely. I would totally hang those last two on my wall. Anyway, it's a kid's book. There's no doubt about it. If you like kids' book, this one is kind of fun. It's, if you've got kids and you want a kids' book, I would thoroughly recommend it. For a child, it's at the stage of giggling when Mrs. Hollands goes and starts feeding corned beef to the incredibly vicious wolves, who are also quite hungry and willing to put up with her patting their heads if it means corned beef. Lots of fun. And when I was looking for online to have a bit of a look for Willis Hall, who I'm impressed by and who I would read more by, especially as adult stuff if I can find it, I found The Last Vampire is the first in a series of at least 8, I think. So we end with all of them escaping from the villagers, but Count Alucard leaves his home and tries to follow them back to England. And that narrative, I believe, is continued in the rest of the books. This is the most gorgeous cover of the lot of them. I think this was published, like I said, in 82. I don't think that the next one, which is The Vampire's Holiday, came out until 10 years later. So it was a bit of a follow-up, and these were written later in Willis Hall's life. I think I've got the cream of the crop here, to be honest. I'm not sure I'd like the others. But yes, if you like this sort of thing, if you like reading about vampires, you crave orange juice, if you have been intrigued by this review, by all means, read The Last Vampire. The Last Vampire is the second last thing I am reading for Spooky October, and it's been exhausting. There will be a monthly wrap-up when I can be bothered. I am considering doing a 10 best covers for Richard Rampole, who is doing that over at Vintage SF, and I would thoroughly recommend you going over and checking out his really cool video if you have not done so already. Thank you for watching. Read good books, and possibly even The Last Vampire. I don't know why people are always neglecting kids' books. There's some fantastic kids' books out there, and this is one of the good ones. A bit young for my general taste. I'm more the Hobbit level, but still pretty good. Thanks for watching. Read good books. Have a great day.